Esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen, today I couldn't be with you in person in Thessaloniki, my hometown, as I'm on a business trip overseas, but I'm glad that the organizers gave me the opportunity to address this short recorded speech, hoping that even this way I will be able to contribute to the dialogue. I was invited today in my capacity as the Director General of Fuels Europe, which represents almost 100% of the fuels production capacity in Europe, with our members producing fuels, both conventional and renewable, as well as products used as feedstock in critical industrial sectors. Let me also remind you that liquid fuels provide 97% of the energy that moves people and goods in Europe. As for the renewable fuels I mentioned, the term refers to fuels that, based on their circular carbon cycle, do not emit additional CO2 into the atmosphere. Renewable fuels are either bio-based advanced biofuels made from sustainable biomass such as forestry or agricultural residues, municipal waste, used oils, non-recyclable plastic, or synthetic fuels, also called e-fuels, made from green electricity with captured CO2. Both options are sustainable solutions that can achieve up to 90% emission reduction. Our sector is currently in a turning point and has to address challenges like no other before in its 150 years history. Our sector fully endorsed the energy transition and the EU's ambition to achieve climate neutrality, and I have to say that it was back in 2018 when our sector presented our vision for renewable fuels and products by 2050, which means 2 years before the EU Green Deal. And then in 2020 we presented our roadmap, the Clean Fuels for All, showing how the ambition of our vision could be achieved. In the meantime, many things have changed. We now have the EU Green Deal and the huge legislative package of Fit for 55, setting and adjusting the 2030 targets. What does this legislation tell us? That renewable liquid fuels are an integral part of the European ambition and that climate neutrality by 2050 cannot be achieved without them. This is clear for the hard-to-abate sectors, aviation and maritime, where the EU legislation sets specific decarbonization goals based on renewable liquid fuels. These new technologies should be developed and the renewable products produced in Europe. This has been one of the lessons learned in the EU following the successive crises of the last few years and the international competition landscape. In this context, our sector has to address a twofold challenge. First, to remain the reliable and competitive supplier of uninterrupted, secure energy for all European citizens and businesses under all circumstances, including the next pandemic, the next energy or any other geopolitical crisis. And second, to proceed with large-scale, multi-billion investments to produce the renewable fuels that, as I mentioned, the EU will need to achieve climate neutrality. This means a monumental change of our sector, the fuels manufacturing industry, and a difficult balance that it has to strike in the transitional period. The good news is that this transformation has already started in our assets, with the conversion of conventional refineries to biorefineries, many ongoing sustainable fuels projects, co-processing of sustainable circular feedstocks in refineries, reducing thus the carbon footprint of our products, alongside investments in renewable energy, charging points, green hydrogen, CCUS. But is this enough? I'm afraid not, and the reason is that the EU legislation does not have an integrated approach regarding the transition of the liquid fuel sector, but instead focuses on specific segments of fuels that will be needed for some hard-to-abate sectors. Is it feasible to ask for renewable fuels in aviation and maritime and ignore them in all other uses, such as fuels for road transport or products needed for feedstocks for critical industries such as chemicals, pharmaceuticals, polymers? It is not, both for business and technical reasons. A sharp reduction of the fuels market, around 60–80% of the current size, will threat competitiveness and viability of the sector in Europe and will put at stake decisions for multi-billion investments that will be needed for the transformation of the sector. Moreover, a refinery, a biorefinery, or even a new Fischer-Tropsch unit producing e-fuels, none of them can produce only aviation or maritime fuels. On the contrary, all of them produce a mix of products, and all these products have to find their way to the market if an investment needs to be attractive. Without the use of renewable fuels in road transport, as the CO2 regulations for light-duty vehicles and heavy-duty vehicles prescribe, the transition of liquid fuels in Europe will be at stake. On the contrary, the possibility to use renewable fuels in road transport would have multiple benefits, complementing electrification, accelerating the decarbonization of road transport for the millions of ICE cars that will still be on EU roads in the next decades, using all existing storage and supply infrastructure, offering an alternative and affordable option for all EU citizens to be part of road decarbonization, even those who cannot afford a new electric vehicle. In Greece, where we have the oldest fleet in the EU, among 27 countries, we rank last or second to last, where citizens cannot afford not only an electric vehicle, but not even a conventional new one, we should be extremely cautious to leave no one behind in this decarbonization journey. For this reason, we ask for a European strategy for the transition of liquid fuels that will address all challenges of the sector in an integrated way. The EU has already strategies on batteries, hydrogen, critical raw materials, but the strategy for the transition of liquid fuels is still missing. On the other hand, a few weeks ago, we published our strategic document ahead of the new EU institutional cycle, which we believe is more than a manifesto, this one, where we present what we can offer to Europe if enabling conditions are in place, and you can find this on our website. So, ahead of a new EU institutional cycle, we have to answer what does Europe need in the next decades when it comes to energy transition. Our sector has to play an integral role in the EU's decarbonization vision, offering solutions where other technologies stop. What do we have to offer? We support climate neutrality with our renewable fuels and products to decarbonize cars, airplanes, ships, as well as critical industries such as chemicals, pharmaceuticals, or polymers. We ensure energy security and resilience with our affordable fuels and products, today and in the future, securing our fundamental rights to move, heat our homes, but also enjoy a quality of life based on modern, high-tech products and ensure fuel supplies for defense reasons or other unexpected crises. We are a key part of a strong EU industry creating jobs and wealth with our 95 strategic industrial plants across Europe covering our everyday needs, gradually transforming to renewable energy hubs, and these together with an extended supply network reaching every corner of Europe, fully compatible with renewable fuels, ready to be used as of today. Last but not least, our transformation will support circular economy and energy autonomy by bringing a new decentralized energy production model based on domestic and circular raw materials such as waste and residual feedstocks that will be used for the production of renewable products, paving the way to the energy autonomy of Europe. So this is our vision and our plan. Our journey, as I said, has started with multi-billion investments in renewable fuels and products, and this is only the beginning. The ambition is high and the change will be monumental. To remain competitive and make it happen in Europe, we need the EU on our side. We are ready to cooperate with the EU, Member States and society to impact assess the existing regulations, suggest corrective actions and unlock technological and investment potential for a carbon-neutral future, secure and affordable for all European citizens. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm wishing you a fruitful exchange of views and I look forward to the proceedings of the conference.